Welcome to this video. So in this video we are going to describe how the data analysis can be performed for RAPD or ISSR molecular markers. Now as you know, RAPD and this ISSR, both of them are dominant markers. So what happens in the case of dominant markers is that the expression level is not of any importance, but what is important is whether that particular, any given particular loci, whether that is present or that is absent. So how do you perform this RAPD or ISSR, this molecular marker analysis study? So the experimental part, that is the wet lab part. So what you do is, suppose for any given sample or any given organism, may it be a plant or an animal or an microorganism. So we generally, while doing that this RAPD or ISSR, so these are used for genetic diversity study. So first the samples are collected, same species from a few different locations, and then the DNA is extracted for them. And once the DNA has been extracted, in the next phase we run the PCR using specific primers. Now there are some specific primers, or which is called as universal primers, which is available for both RAPD as well as ISSR. So either you can use that, or you can design, of course you can design your own primers. So once you run the PCR using those primers, and after that you run the agarose jet electrophoresis, and then you take the gel photograph using the gel dock machine. So now the next, so all these things are they all fall under the wet lab experiments. So now after that the dry lab experiment or the analysis part starts. So there are three major steps in that. The first step is called as gel scoring. So in that the binary data is formed from the gel, and in the next phase, using that particular binary data, a similarity or dissimilarity matrix is being created, and then after that, using that matrix, a phylogenetic tree is being analysis or tree is being generated. So these are the steps of this data analysis. So what we will be doing is, in this video I will show you, given an example of an gel photograph, how the data scoring or gel scoring can be done. That is the binary matrix, how the binary matrix can be created, data can be created using this gel photograph. And then using that binary data, we will show how the similarity matrix can be created, and then from that how the gel can, how the tree can be created, phylogenetic tree. So now let's go to the practical part. So this is the diagram that I am going to use for this particular study. So it's not me, yeah. So let me very briefly explain to you what is there in this particular diagram. So in this lane we have a ladder. Now ladder, as you know, this is the known molecular weight of each of these bands. So the molecular weight of each of this band is known. So this is number one. Now number two is that this side I have total of 6 samples. So in this particular gel, what I have done, I have run 2 different PCR products. So this is the PCR product using primer 1, and this is the PCR product using primer 2. So for this particular this video purpose, we will only concentrate on this particular gel, that is using primer A or 1. And so first step, as I mentioned, what I will do is I will prepare a not phylogenetic tree, that is the ultimate. The first what we will be doing is we will be creating a binary data using this particular gel photograph. So for that I will be needing an Excel file. Okay, so this is the Excel file that I am going to use. So let me make it short so that I can keep both of these files side by side. So this one. Alright. So first, as I have shown, I have 6 samples. So that has run in 6 different lanes. So each of them I will designate one particular column for each of the lanes. So I will name them as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So each of these lane, they represent each of these, each of this column represent each of these lanes here. Next thing what we have to do is we have to find out total how many unique bands are present in the whole diagram. So if you see in this diagram, this is one unique band, this is number 2, this is number 3, this is number 4, this is number 5, this is number 6 and this is number 7. So we have in total 7 unique bands in this particular diagram or in this particular gel photograph. So accordingly we will number that as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. So now what we will see is among these 7 unique bands, how many are present in each of the lanes. That is the next thing that we have to find out. So for that we will go lane by lane. So this is the first lane in which this is the first band, this is present. So another, how we are scoring, if it is present then we will mark them as 1. If it is absent then we will mark them as 0. So that is how this is done. Okay. So in this case, as we see the first band is present, so we will mark as 1. In the second band is present, so we will mark as 1. So just for the sake of making it easier so that you don't get confused, I will write this is sample 1, this is sample 2, sample 3, sample 4, sample 5, then this is sample 6, and this will be let's say band 1, band 2, band 3, band 4, band 5, band 6, band 7, so that you don't get confused regarding this one. Anyway, let's get back to this particular diagram. So 1 is present, 2 is present, 3 is this particular band, 3 is not present here, so we'll mark them as 0. Then number 4 that is present, so we'll mark as 1. Number 5 that is present, we'll mark them as 1. Number 6 and 7 are absent, so both will be 0 and 0. So the same way we'll go to sample number 2, where the first band is absent here, second band is present, third band is absent, fourth, fifth and sixth, seventh, all of those bands are present. Now this number 3 here, this first 4 or rather first 5, all of them are present, so we'll mark accordingly, and the last 2 they are not present, so that will be 0 and 0. Now let's go back to let's go to sample number 4. Here we don't have the first band, so that will be 0. Second band is present, third band is present. Okay, third band is not present here, so this will be 0. Here third band, so this is first band is missing, second band, third band is missing, so fourth band is present, fifth band is present, and rest of the bands are absent. Now in the sample number 5, as you can see, all the first and then second, third, fourth, fifth present, sixth is absent, and again seventh is present. And in sample number 6, what we have is first, second, third, fourth, fifth, again sixth absent, and then again we have 7. So this is the data that has been generated from this particular diagram, and this is how this binary data is being created. So now what you will do is suppose this is, we have created this for primer 1. Accordingly, you will prepare the this particular data set for all of the primers. Suppose for your study you have used a total of 20 or 30 different primers. So for each you will prepare the data like this, and then you will keep adding beneath this. So this is first one, then the data for primer, let's say primer 2, that will be added here, and then the data for primer 3, that will be added here. So what we will do is total number of column will be 6, but total number of band will increase as the number of primers starts to increase. So this is how the data is being generated. Alright, now for this particular video, what I have done, I have created a data set, and I will be using that for the future or for the explanation of this data analysis, how that is done. So let me open that. So this is the data. This is basically the data set that I have already prepared. Now here as you can see, there are different colors here. Each of these different colors, they are designated for different primers. So this actually belongs to primer 1, this belongs to primer 2. So just to segregate the primers from each other, I have used different colors, but when I will be doing the analysis, I don't have to separate them. This is just for the explanation sake. Okay, so I am deleting this. And then so suppose this is the data for, and obviously I have 6 samples, so this is the binary data for primer 1, then primer 2, and so on, as I mentioned. Now this is one. Now before going to this particular lane or this particular row, let me show you the software that I am going to use for this particular study. So the software that I am going to use for this particular study is called as NTSYS-PC, NTSYS-PC. This is the software that I am going to use. So a very unique thing about this software is like all the other softwares, you don't have to install it. So you just have to download it, and if you have downloaded it in your system, then you are good to go with or to use with this particular software. So there are 2 files within, or 2 programs within. So let me switch this off. Yeah, or minimize this. Yeah. So we have 2 different programs within this particular software which we will be needing for this study. So I have kept both of them on the desktop so that I don't have to open the file all the times. Alright, so there are 2 different things. One is called as NTEdit, another one is called as NTSYS, NTSYS. So NTEdit is nothing but same way as a notepad, same that we have used just now, that is the Excel. So the same thing that I have done here using in the Excel, that is a data entry, the same thing you can do in the NTEdit as well. So let me just show that to you how that can be done. So this is the interface of this NTEdit. So what you can do same way. So see, these are the columns, or the where the sample numbers actually, and these are the different bands. Now you can actually increase the total number of columns. So suppose here in this particular data set you have 7 rows and 4 columns, so you can obviously create as that is customize this depending on your data set. So suppose you have let's say 10 different varieties or 10 different samples, and a total number of bands that you have created is something around 85. So you just have to write that in number of rows 85, number of columns 10. So accordingly this particular file will be created where you have to input that the binary data manually from the GL photograph. And now you can actually modify this as you want. Suppose you don't need this particular lane, so you simply will select this and then you will click on this del row, so this will be deleted. And then if you need another row in between these two, then you have to go for this insert column, and then you will have this, and you have to rename this again. So like this, depending on whatever data you have, so you can either create the data set in Excel or you can use in NTEdit. Now I personally like the Excel mode to create the data set in Excel, and obviously then I can import that Excel file directly into this file, into this NTEdit. So how I can do this, import the file into NTEdit, I will show that. So let me close this, no changes, and again let me open this file. So this is the particular file that I was talking about. Now as you can see, when I have written down the data here, I have kept this particular column free. There is nothing I have added here, and also this particular column free. So the reason behind that, when I am importing the data from Excel, there is a particular nomenclature. In that particular nomenclature only we have to, or using that particular nomenclature only we have to write the data or create the data set, so that when we transfer the data into the software, then the software gets to recognize the data. So what is this? In the first cell, that is A1, we have to write 1 as it has been written here. So that is the total number of pages in which your data is present. So suppose in this case our data is in only one page, this page, so I have written one. If my data were in 2 pages, then I would have written 2 here. So accordingly, so whatever you write here, accordingly the software will take into consideration. Next is that is the B1, in which we write the total number of bands or total number of rows, as you can see here. So here total number of rows is 30, so we have written 30. In your data set, if it is 180 or 176 or 300, whatever it is, you have to write like that. Next, C1, in this we write the total number of samples or varieties that we have. So in our case again we have a total of 6 samples. So here I have written this as 6. Now suppose if my sample is 8, I can write 8. Now the importance of this 3 line or 3 cells is immense. That is, according to this particular nomenclature only, the software is going to take into consideration the data. So if suppose I write instead of 4 I write 4, instead of 6 I write 4, then the software is only going to consider these 4 columns, and these 2 columns will be not taken into consideration. Same way, if I write here 20, only the first 20 rows will be taken into consideration. So like this you have to write it. So let me change this to 30, let me change this to 6, and then I have to save it. Now when I am saving the data, we have to give it a very specific name. Why? Because we need that name when we will be using the data. I'll show you how that can be done. So here I have already named this as test, so I am just closing it, save it. Now I will be opening this NT-edit. Okay, so now this NT-edit, you will go to file, then we will go to import export Excel using OLE. So now we have to show them which particular file, wherever that is present in your system. So, and you don't have to write the whole name of the file. If you just put the first name, the software is going to or the algorithm is going to find that particular file. So here my the name of my file was test, so I am just writing T here. So as you can see, they have already taken this test Excel. So we'll select this and open it. So this is my whole data set. As you can see, I can have here 1 2 3 4 5 6 data set, that is columns, that is 6 different species, not species but samples. And here these are the 30 rows that I had, so these are R30, and this is the data that I had shown. Now the next thing is that I will save this data. So I will save file as. Now what I will do is instead of writing the whole name, I will just write 1 2 3 4. So in this file I will be saving as 1, and all the subsequent files I will save as number 2, number 3, number 4, just for the sake of understanding and not making, so that you can easily remember which file you created at what point of time. So here we will name this as 1, and we will save this as desktop only. We are not going to save in any other folder. So we have saved it. Now we will close it. So this is the file 1.nts. Next we will open this software NTSYS. So this is the how the interface of this particular software looks like. So if you remember, I had mentioned about 3 different steps which you have to we have to follow, or we will be following rather, for the analysis of RAPT or ISSR data. So what we have done, the first step is already over. Out of the 3 steps, first step is already over. That is, we have already created the data set. Now what we will do is, using that data set, we will create similarity or dissimilarity matrix. Now for this study we will be preparing similarity matrix, and the similarity, what is the difference between similarity and dissimilarity is, suppose if the similarity from the sample 1 to sample 6 is rather 0.82, then the dissimilarity between the sample number 1 and sample number 6 is going to be 1 minus 0.82, that is 0.18. So this is how the similarity and dissimilarity differs from each other. So you can either use actually either both of them, that is both of this similarity matrix as well as dissimilarity matrix. So now for this particular purpose or this particular study purpose, we will be preparing the similarity matrix. So for that, what we will do is we will go to the similarity tab. As you can see, number of tabs are present here. So we will go to the similarity tab and then we will press on this qualitative data here. So once you do that, they will ask for input file. So input file will be the file that you have saved just now. So you have to show them, or you have to select that particular file. So this is the file number 1 that we had created just now. So we will show that and open it. Now next is by rows. Now if you remember the data set, how we created the data set, that is in columns we have the number of species and in rows we have the number of the total number of bands. Now suppose if I would have created the data set the other way around, that is in the column I had the total number of bands and in the rows I had the total number of species. So if I would have created the data set like this, for those data sets you have to select here this by rows, but since we haven't done that, so we won't select that. Now coming to this coefficient, there is number of different coefficient. Using this coefficient, this similarity matrix will be created. So the most widely used among these are this SM, J for Jaccard, and also this dice. So these three are the most widely used coefficients. So for this particular study, we are going to use SM coefficient. And then output file. So output file is that once you have given them all the parameters and all the data, so now they will compute, and after computing all the data that they have generated, they will store in one particular file. So that is going to be their output file. So you have to show them a file. So let's rename this output file as number 2. As I mentioned, all the subsequent files will be numbering as 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. So that is all you have to do. Now positive code 1, negative code 0, that is how we have created the data. That is if the band is present 1, if the band is absent 0. So there is no integer, or only 1 and 0, no other numbers we have used. Anyway, so next we will go for this and click on this compute. So the software will show that they have done this. So this is the ending time and date. So that means that particular computation is over. So next what we will be doing is we have already created the similarity matrix. The software has created. Now we can directly go and create the tree phylogenetic tree using that data. But before moving ahead, what I would like to do is I would like to show you how the similarity matrix actually looks like. So for that we have to go to this output and transfer tab. Then you select this output. Here you give them that particular input. In the input file you name the file in which the matrix has been saved. So that has been saved in the file number 2. So we will be selecting number 2 here and then go to open. Now all of these things I am not going to change here. Suppose this decimal place, what is this important, I will show you. Page width you have to increase in case you have a large data set, but our data set is relatively small, so we don't need that. And row order and column order, there is nothing that we have to mention here. So the next thing that we will do is we will be pressing this compute. So after that they will show you this particular data set. So this is actually the matrix. So here you have the sample 1 and sample 2. So because this is a similarity matrix, so there cannot be any the similarity between sample 1 and sample 1 is going to be 1. That is, within the sample there is no difference. Now the similarity between sample 1 and sample 2 is 0.5333, sample 1 and sample 3 is 0.4667, and so on. Now if you remember, there is something when we are selecting how to show the data. We are just in the previous page when we gave the page the file number 2 and then all these things, there we had this decimal places is equal to 4. So here is, as you can see, all the data here, they have 4 decimals after point. So if you don't want to show 4 decimals, suppose you want to show 2 decimals, then you have to change here. That is in the previous page. Again, let's go back here. So in this page, suppose if you write instead of 4, if we make this as 2, then the matrix that will be created, in that only 2 decimals will be there after this point. So let me show that. So as you can see, now the data set has been changed. So here we only have 2 decimals after the point. So this is a few things that you can change while you are preparing the data set or the matrix. So this is the matrix. Now what we will be doing is, we will be using this particular matrix for preparing the phylogenetic tree. Okay, so for preparation of phylogenetic tree, we have to go to clustering, then we have to go to SAHN, which will prepare the phylogenetic tree. Now there are many types of trees which can be created in this phylogeny, but for RAPD or ISSR, basically for binary data, the most widely used tree is UPGMA tree. So we will be for this. So if I can show you here, there are some other methods as well. So these are the other methods which we can use, but UPGMA is the most widely accepted and used this clustering method for tree analysis of binary data. So that's why we will be using the UPGMA. Now we have to give them the input file. As you know, file number 2 is the input file, and so we'll be giving them that, and then we have to give them a output file where they will keep all the files after this computation. So let me name that as number 3. Then we'll go for this compute. Next, again this message will be shown that this computation is over. Now why this computation is not taking much time here? Because the total number of sample is very less. If I would have got let's say 200 or 400 different samples, then this particular step would have taken a little bit more time. But here, just because the sample size is very less, the software is not taking much time. Okay, so after this message has been shown, that for the tree generation, you will see a logo at the bottom left corner of your screen, that is this one. So you have to press this and it will show you the phylogenetic tree that has been created using your data, that is using the similarity matrix. So what you can say from this, a very basic concept, that is sample 2 and 3, they are very closely related to each other, and then sample 1, the most nearer to sample 1 is sample 6. Then for this particular clade, the next most similar one is A5. Then for that, the next similar is this A2, A3, and A4 is the most dissimilar to all of these 5 samples. So this is the very basic thing which you can deduce from this particular graph. Now there are some customization which you can do in this particular tree, is that you can change the font of these things. Suppose I have written here S1, S2, S6, you can actually write the species name or the variety name. So that thing, so how that can be done? So we'll go to plot options, then we'll go to font, and then obviously you have to change. Suppose I want this in Vardhana, I want in bold italic, I want in 20, and then I want this to be written in let's say red. So this is how I will be doing it. Secondly, I can change these lines as well. So I will go to line, then I will select, if I want to change the color, suppose I want to select let's say this color. So I'll select this, and I want to increase the width of this color, or I can change the style, that is dotted, dashed, so I'll go for dotted. So okay, so this is how this particular thing looks like. So these are the few customization which you can do. Now another thing is, suppose here I have 6 samples, so that is quite fine, nice, no problem. So but if assume you are working with let's say 45 different varieties or 45 different samples, So if in that case 45 samples will be placed in this place, and this will be a very chaotic, fully messy. You cannot actually make out all these different where this particular lines are breaking and all those things. So for that, what you can do is you can divide them into 2 or 3 pages. That is, suppose here I want this first 3 to be shown in first page, and the second 3 and the other 3 to be to be shown in the other page. So what I can do is this OTU plus OTUs per page, instead of 6 I will write this as 3, and then I'll press OK. So as you can see now, only 3 of these species are being shown here, and the rest of the 3 will be shown in the next page. So same way you can do if you have, or this actually can be done if you have multiple samples, like 25-30 samples, 40 samples. Now obviously this is just for the purpose of saving in here or looking at the trees, but then you have to, if you make it like this also, then you can save it as 2 different files, and then obviously you have to stitch the 2 files before you are going for any publication or any presentation. So for now I am keeping this as 6 and going to page number 1. So all of these are present here. So next we will be saving this file. So save this as meta file, and I would like to save this in the desktop itself. So I will select the desktop, and I will name this as tree1. So this will be saved in the desktop. So I'll just show you. So this is the tree1 file. Okay. Now coming back to this particular data set, another thing which, so this part is done. Okay. So another study which we can do using our data is to find the genetic diversity among the different species that you have used. Suppose you are, in my example only, I have used 6 different species. So what I have done here is I have prepared the similarity matrix, that is how much similar they are to each other. Now if suppose I want to study the genetic diversity among all of these 6 species, so how I could have done that? So for that, again you have to go to this similarity this tab, and then as you can see here, there is in one particular program here which is called as genetic distance. So you have to click on that, and then you have to show them the first data set where you saved the data, that is number 1. So and then obviously this by rows, I had already explained what is this. Then this coefficient, again there are a number of different coefficients for this study, but this NAICE 72 is the most widely used for studying this genetic diversity, so we will be keeping that. Now we have to name an output file. We will name that as, let's say, number 4, and the rest of the things I am not making any changes. So I'll go for compute, and this file has been computed. Now before going, next thing that we can do is we will go to this output and transfer, and I will see, rather I would like to see how the genetic diversity data looks like. So I have shown them that particular file in which I have saved it, and here the same things filled with decimal points, places which you can change, and place with you have to change this. Suppose you have to make this 150 or 200 if you have large amount of data, but for my data that I have given here or using here, for that 60-80 page width is more than enough. So I will go to compute. So here this is basically the genetic diversity study, or this is the genetic diversity between species 1 and species 2, the genetic diversity between species 1 and species 3, and so on. Okay, so now once we have this genetic diversity data, another thing or another study that we can do is we can actually prepare a graph, or rather we can prepare a tree using this genetic diversity data. So for that, again we will go to clustering, and although there are some others as well, like neighbor joining, that is also very commonly used this tree, but I would like to stick to this UPGMA dendrogram, so I will be sticking to that. Here the input file is number 4, output tree file I am naming that as number 5, and the rest of the things I am not changing at all. So I will go for compute. So they are saying that the computation is over on this date and this time. So I would like to see it again. When I am preparing a tree, if you remember, I mentioned this last time also, there will be a logo like this shown on the left corner, extreme bottom left corner. So you have to click on that, and this is the phylogenetic tree that has been generated by using the genetic diversity study or data. Now as you can see here, there is simply no change in the data or in the tree when you use the similarity data or when you use the genetic diversity data. Same way 1 and 6 are together, 5 is the next, 2 and 3 are together, and 4 is the most distant. Same thing. So here also the same customization can be done, that is this color or this width can be changed, this particular numbers or whatever the species variety name, the names, the font can be changed, color can be changed, and all those things. There is another one thing, that is, as you can see in this particular tree, the trees are starting from this side here, and the species names are given in this side. But if you want, you can just move it the other way around, that is, you can show the names of the varieties on this side, and you can start the phylogenetic trees from this side. So for that, what you have to do, again go to options, go to plot options, then go to options here, and then if you click on this, that is the reverse x-axis here, and you place OK, so it will just go the other way around. So this is another customization that you can do if you want. And then obviously you will go and save this meta file. So this will be, you can save this, or rather I will be saving this as tree2, just to make this different, or give a different name from the tree that we had saved earlier. Okay, so let me save this, I'll close it and minimize this, and this is the tree2. So this is basically how you perform the genetic analysis, or you perform the analysis for this RAPD and ISSRJ. So hopefully this video was helpful for you. So if you liked it, or if you think this was helpful for you, kindly press the like button and also share it with your friends, so that that basically encourages us to, or me, to create more videos which again should be or might be helpful for you. So thank you.